everybody. It's good to be with you guys again. And so I am excited. I have a little story for you guys tonight, and I hope everybody's enjoying being back in school. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about being selfish. So I'm sure you guys know what that is. And so I want to, I have a story that I want to read to you, and then I'll make a few more remarks. So let's read the story. It's called The Hollow Pie. Robert had the very bad habit of always taking the biggest and best of everything for himself. His brothers Charlie and Ted would call him all sorts of names for doing it, but that did not seem to make any difference. Mother was very sorry about it, too, especially since Robert, when invited out to parties, always disgraced the family by his greediness. What could be done? Mother talked the matter over with her sister, who lived on the next street. A few days later, the boys were delighted to receive an invitation to dinner from their aunt. Remembering all the good things they had enjoyed there the times past, they looked forward to the day of the party. So they were going to go to their aunt's house for a party. At last, the day came, and dinner time arrived, for which Robert especially had been waiting. The table was piled with good things. What Robert looked at longingly was the cupcakes, jellies, small pies, and chocolates. Robert's eyes gazed excitedly on the wonderful spread of tasty dishes. See, there he was looking at the pie and everything. He looked all excited. Oh my, he thought, if only I could attend to this little matter all by myself. He looked at everything and made up his mind which of them he would choose when they were passed around. When all the visitors had been given their places at the table, dinner began. They all began with bread and potatoes and greens in the usual way, but Robert soon got tired of that. He looked at the plate with small pies, one whole pie for each person. He wanted the biggest one. He would get it in time, or would Charlie get it first? The pies were passed around. Charlie and Ted took small ones and opened them. What wonderful centers they had, thought Robert. Now, if I can only get the big one. Robert's turn came. The biggest one was still there, and of course he took it with joy. But a disappointment awaited him. As he cut through the top, the whole pie collapsed. It was hollow. Poor Robert. Tears filled his eyes, but no one seemed to notice what had happened. He ate the crust as bravely as he could and said nothing. The cupcakes were passed around. Robert thought he was quite justified in taking the biggest one this time, seeing that there had been nothing in his pie. But something was wrong with his cake. It looked all right outside, but the center was bitter. What could be the matter, thought Robert. Auntie was generally a good cook. And then, too, the others didn't seem to have any trouble at all. It wasn't fair, thought Robert, but he didn't dare say anything for fear the others would laugh at him. Nobody seemed to notice Robert's unhappiness, and no one passed him anything to make up for his bad luck. In fact, the others all seemed to be enjoying themselves to the fullest. The chocolates came next, and by this time Robert was getting desperate. I'll have to make up for the lost time by taking these two big beauties in the center, he said to himself as he removed the two best looking ones from the plate. Ugh, said Robert, groaning inwardly and blushing all over with disappointment. What a horrible taste! Swallowing one was difficult. He tried the other to take the taste away, only to find it worse. On the way home, Charlie remarked to Robert about the splendid dinner they had had. Splendid what? Said Robert. I thought you weren't enjoying yourself, said Charlie. You looked uncomfortable. What was the matter? Matter? Said Robert. Everything I took was bad, even when I took what looked best every time. Maybe that was the cause of your problem, Robert, said Charlie knowingly. I think if I were you, I'd leave the biggest and the best looking things for someone else next time. That night, Robert stayed awake quite a long time. There were 2 reasons. One was the pain under his pajama jacket, and the other was the advice Charlie had given him. He put 2 and 2 together, and at last decided that the best and the safest course for him would be follow Charlie's suggestion in the future. So there's a picture of them when they were at the table. So what do you think happened there? Do you think there was a reason? I think they were trying to teach him a lesson, would teach Robert a lesson here. You see, he was always taking the biggest and the best and always wanted it for himself. So he was being selfish and greedy. And so this time he took the biggest and best, what looked best, but it wasn't good. And so I think the point that they're trying to make is sometimes it maybe looks like the best and we really want something. Maybe we see a new toy out in the store and we really want it, but maybe someone else wants that same toy, or we're playing with something and somebody else wants that toy and we don't want to share. But God wants us to share. And so when we are in a situation like that, let's remember that we don't always have to have the biggest and the best, and that we can share with others around us. So I hope everybody has a good rest of the year and you enjoy school.